Claxby Hill. We had a very long, made Norwegian-style session.
No, not that.
We hurtled down, we hit one another.
Go and find her. Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
Okay, you guys want anything else?
3 butterbeers and some ginger and lime, please. 6 shots of giggle water.
Pete Earl Grey hot.
This snake juice is basically rat poison. Spent my whole life right here in Lackawanna County.
Drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Shut up.
Well, welcome back, everyone. If you've just stumbled in, you're listening to a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, and a professor have all walked into a bar.
Yeah, we have. We might be stumbling out of here at the end of this.
Knockout, drag out. Yep, we're settling this in the back parking lot in the alley, baby.
Godzilla is an Easter movie.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
For our next Christmas bracket, we're doing all the God's Not Dead movies. They're up to 32 of those, including Fireproof and the other one about the police officers and the one about the EMTs because they ran out of ideas. Don't get me started on those movies. They're not very good.
Well, I know we are going to have to kind of keep it brief on some of the other segments here because we had every ambition on finishing the first round of 32 in the last episode. And yeah, that...
If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans to cover his son's birthday movies. Anyway,
so we're gonna start out with the dailies, and then we will move into part 2 of our March Madness movie bracket.
What are we going to call this?
I write for the Daily Prophet.
That's crap.
I want the name of this flying whatchamacallit to go with the Daily Planet like bacon and eggs.
Crap.
Daily Bugle?
That's pretty good. But it's taken.
So, Cody, what do you got?
Well, this is a continuation of a prior daily
Okay.
that I talk about, and more of a kind of a personal thing. Back in January, I had my Lord of the Rings book club.
Oh, yeah.
Which ended spectacularly and was really fun. And they decided at the last one that they were going to do it every quarter.
Okay.
They're going to do a book club. They're going to do book club every quarter. And they asked me the other day if I could lead discussion on the next book club from the podcast Geeky Stoics, starring Riley Blanton and Stephen Kent. And I'm going to lead discussion on my favorite faith-based book of all time, The Screwtape Letters.
Whoa. Oh,
so
did you plan that when you came up to our house for our birthday?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This decision was made like 2 days ago. So I'm just personally really excited that I'm able to talk about one of my favorite books. Because I know in the last book club, I'm like, I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings. And I'm just kind of sitting there trying to contribute. And there was one session, there was like 2 people there with me. So I tried to fill the silence, and it was not good. It was not good, but it ended well, and they asked me to lead discussion, and now I'm going to be going through my copy and asking all sorts of questions.
You mean this one?
Yep.
So when Cody came up for our birthday weekend, we tried our hand at book rebinding. Everybody brought a paperback book, and we rebound it in a hardback cover, and Cody did the Screwtape Letters in kind of a Penguin Classic style with the foil cover on it. So I'll make sure you get this in time for your book club. That is exciting. Oh, and here, I'll even show it. We picked our own
Cool.
inner pages too and had designed those. And yeah, that was really fun. Well, that is exciting. Well,
yeah, I'm really excited to get to know. Like half the reasons I do podcasts is to become friends with my favorite podcasts.
That's fair.
And so
that's fair.
I think we're gonna have to start
it's-
censoring Riley's name. It's like a curse word at this point. Like how frequently I hear the name Riley Blanton. In the show. Just duck quack over that name. I don't even know Riley. He was in I think South Korea when we last recorded, and now
What?
he's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I remember that, but I just hear his name so frequently. We're just going to put a duck quack over it at this point.
I tried to do a full Star Wars report reunion when we covered Kenobi, and it just, unfortunately, Riley couldn't make it. And I'm like, dag nabbit, I couldn't get the whole crew together.
Well,
So,
Dallas, what do you got?
All right.
So around the time that this will come out, and I didn't know about this until Cody brought it up, but they're re-releasing the old Battlefront 1 and 2 games, which I have very fond memories of, like LAN parties, bringing like 4 Xboxes and people lugging whole CRT TVs into my parents' basement to play Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2. Because it's so old, you can't play that online like multiplayer with other people outside of split screen. So the fact that it is coming to like all platforms, redone, like where people can actually play it together, fantastic.
Okay, clarifying questions. Battlefront, is this Star Wars?
Star Wars, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It is just Star Wars giant battles.
It's the
of all
new
time.
Harry Potter game.
I'm in. Let's do it.
64 wizards going back to back.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, William. Instead of them wearing robes, they realize these battles are getting really, really spicy. So they wear white armor to protect them. And they were like, well, hey, our wands keep getting hit. So they put them in these
That's
like
a choice.
Right. I know. It was kind of weird. And then they put the wands in these like black holders that have a handle on them. So it's easier to like send spells down range. Right. And then the other side were like, well, this is getting pretty bad. So they put on metal armor and they're like, Roger, when they're reporting to orders. So it's a little different than what you're used to, but it's
a Harry Potter.
It's all
game.
Harry Potter. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah,
So you
there's a
get some
kid
red
who-
spells
yeah.
and some blue spells. And
There's a kid, he was raised
sometimes
by
purple.
his aunt and uncle. They didn't treat him the best.
right.
There's
Yeah.
magic. It's a whole thing.
Does a big like hairy guy come in and tell him he's
Yeah.
part of a bigger, wider universe? And
Oh yeah.
Yes.
he-
Yes.
And
he
robes.
goes,
There's
"Oh,
robes."
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
And
now.
there's
He's back.
Nazis. I think we covered that the last episode.
Yeah, we did.
Perfect. You're gonna love it. It's great.
So, are we? Is this an unofficial? Like we're playing this game?
Absolutely, we are.
Yeah,
Yep.
And the
It's up-
single player is phenomenal,
abs-
and it's canon. Can't change my mind.
Yep.
And up to 64 online players. And if it's crossplay, I'm getting the Xbox and the Switch version. So
He's gonna play one with one hand and play one with the other.
I would even say that Star Wars Battlefront 2's multiplayer is the third best Star Wars movie behind The Last Jedi, Rogue One,
Oh
and then
my
it's right there at number 3.
Oh, sorry.
I'm so glad, Alex, you're excited for this. Like, because you're not one for nostalgia.
No, I love these games.
I was
They're
really
my
worried.
They
that-
were my favorites. We would play Star Wars Battlefront 2 and then watch the Clone Wars, and then something happened and I became an adult overnight. And I was just like, I'm 30. I need to talk about my 401k. And they're like, you're 13. You're 12. Like,
I
Dallas
still
is,
have my Xbox game, and I have played it in the last year because of backwards compatibility.
Dallas. Does the mention of the Last Jedi trigger you like Higgins?
I
From,
just saw it.
Ted
Yeah.
Lasso?
It does.
The Last Jedi doesn't trigger me, but discussion about The
And
Last
then
Jedi
hearing it said
triggers
is
me.
the
It is a
best
fine
movie
difference.
in all of Star Wars. It is, though. We're not ready
Well-
for that discussion. We're not ready for that one.
Oh no.
Well, I am
no.
ready for your daily pick, Alex. What do you got?
Oh, so friend of the podcast, New York Times bestselling author Jasper Ford has released a sequel to his wonderful book, Shades of Grey. Not that Shades of Grey. It's the other one spelled the right way. And basically, I've talked about that book before. It was a pick at one point for our book club, just due to difficulties with having to actually read a book as opposed to listen to a book. We went other ways. But this sequel has been over a decade and some change in the making. And he was never on his roadmap. And then he was like, oh, people want this. And so after all of these years of waiting for this book, a sequel has come out. And I have a signed copy, first edition from the UK.
Oh, that's exciting.
What is really cool is the book is based on this post-apocalyptic society where people are broken into a caste system based on what colors they are able to see with their vision. Because of that, the book cover, the dust jacket, is a paint by numbers dust jacket where sections of it are completely white, and it came with a pack of colored pencils.
Stop it.
Yes, I am dead serious. And
That's amazing.
I am absolutely
does
over
the
moon.
movie
It is amazing.
Wow.
Red Side Story like it? Does the TV show adaptation star a blind Jason Momoa? Anyone see anybody? Nobody.
I have no
sees
idea
it.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyways,
he's the
on
king
Apple
of
TV
the
Plus?
sea. I know that one. That was with Amber Heard, right?
I made an Apple TV Plus reference that you didn't get.
No, I watched the good stuff
Wow.
on there. I don't watch.
Ew.
How would you know what's on Apple TV? You've never even opened the app. I keep recommending all these great shows. Anyways, that is my daily. Go pick up Red Side Story from friend of the podcast, Jasper Ford. It is delightful. Allie and I are almost done with it, and we got it like 2 days ago. So can't put it down.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let me see if I can find
William, my boy, what do you have?
So, within the past couple of weeks, David Zaslav at Warner Brothers has had well, he has had his first meeting with the production team and executive producer J.K. Rowling about the Harry Potter television show, and they have announced that their targeted premiere date is in 2026.
Ooh.
That's so
Um,
close.
I have said on the podcast before that I always just had a really good feeling about 38. That whenever I for whatever reason that year is going to be a great year. I mean, I'm not saying it's a coincidence that I turned 38 in 2026 and that's when the Harry Potter show's coming out, but I'm also not.
Okay,
not
Taylor
saying
Swift
it.
and your magic numbers. Get out of here.
No, but I'm excited about it because I'm also going to announce in today's daily segment that my Harry Potter exclusive podcast, Potter Plus, will be debuting in its own feed on April the 5th.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
So
The
this
Grapefruit
is
Network.
this is going to be the third flagship show of the Grapefruit Network, and it's called Potter Plus. And initially, it will cover some of the theories and rumors and news around the show before the debut, and then this will be my reaction and discussion show for the Harry Potter television show whenever that does come out.
William, I this is Mr. Christian, a reporter for the Daily Prophet. Question: will your other co-hosts make special appearances in this show as well?
Absolutely not.
Oh dear, that sounds absolutely drab.
You think I want to tank the ratings right out of the gate before we have any listeners to rate the show?
Fine.
No.
Will you at
Yes,
least
of course.
include? Will you at least include cute snippets of your daughter? Please.
Yes. So,
Oh, lovely.
yes, everybody here on the show is going to be on Potter Plus in some form or fashion. Cody and I already have some episodes planned. Alex and I have some planned. Dallas, I know you're you're vibing a lot.
He's like, what is
but
a
if there's
Potter? Like
Listen,
the one
if you just
with-
tell me to be there, I don't care what you say we're going to talk about. Let's go. Let's roll with it.
Yeah. Love it.
Dallas and mine and Dallas' episode will be completely improvised.
He's like,
on the
so
spot.
is Potter the movie with the guy who's dead and he helps the girl with the vase, throwing a vase with clay, and he reaches his arms around her, and he's a ghost.
That was the inspiration
That's Potter, right?
for the whole thing. It was
That was such a deep
Patrick,
cut reference.
It was Patrick Swayze's
Yeah,
arm
him.
hair that inspired it because his arms are so hairy.
Mm.
That was the Harry Potter
Okay, perfect.
reference.
Yeah, I love it.
So that again, this will be the third flagship show inside the Grapefruit Network, and the timing on this it's just I was trying to pick a date inside the wizarding world that would have some importance, but I want to get what I've already shared out there with you all.
Every day is a
there'll be-
magical
love
day
it.
with you, William.
So there'll be more information on that coming.
Come
but
on, that was cute. No one
I know
liked
I was
it.
trying to choke back the tears and change the subject. 'cause-
Well,
All right, guys, we will cut to a break, and when we come back, it is going to be part 2 of our round of 32. We'll see. We'll see how this is going to be.
see how
fun.
this
So,
shakes up, baby.
Yeah. We'll cut to a break, and we'll be right back.
You don't want to talk to that guy? He plays in the NFL.
He's a linebacker. Skill positions only for Don Amigo.
I'm saying you're a football player. It's in your blood. That's racist.
Yeah, I know I'm a great ref, and I like to play the game now.
When I am playing hoops, all of the stress and responsibility of my job here just melts away. Who am I? Am I Michael Scott? I don't know. I might just be a basketball machine.
The inspiring words of a fan who'll always root for the home team, even if they lose this game.
They lost! Those losers!
No. The game's not over.
Woo! Not over! Woo!
All right, we are back for part 2 of hopefully part 3 if this doesn't go any longer than
Don't speak it. Don't speak the words because that'll make it worse when it goes into 17 parts.
When it goes into 17.
It's the whole show. It's just the rest of forever. Doctor and a Lawyer is stuck on the Christmas March movie bracket.
We did. Is it the Western Conference when we do the left half of the bracket?
Sure.
And then the Eastern Conference when we do the right half.
Yes.
We are starting the
American
Eastern
League, the National League. I don't know. Call it
Those
what you
are
want.
words.
That's the
I've
other
heard-
sport
I've
called
heard.
baseball. Very fun.
Oh.
They use a bat. It's kind of like the Harry Potter game where you have a beater and
Harry
a bludgeoner and whatever, and then that's the whole sport.
Yeah. Okay. If you would have just said that, I would have.
Yeah, duh.
But we're leading out the gate on the movie bracket tonight with the Rated R conference.
We're starting hot, and it's only getting hotter from there.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that you could fill a whole conference with Rated R movies and they'd be considered Christmas movies.
Surprise! You can.
Here we are. You can. So the first matchup is Violent Night, starring David Harbour as Santa Claus. Phrase I never thought I would utter. And the
There's a good reason for
seminal
that.
Bruce Willis classic, Die Hard. Now, I will insert the clip here in post through the magic of editing, where Bruce Willis himself definitively said on the record that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's a Bruce Willis movie. So a yippee-ki-yay to all of you motherfuckers. Good night!
I would argue
Bruce Willis is wrong.
I would argue
He was just being coy. He's like, it's not really.
I would argue that the production team of Rogue One would probably definitive say on the record that Rogue One is not a Christmas
And
movie.
yet,
Here we are. Here we are. So not everybody go. What?
I think
Do you know that clip from Bambi where Thumper says, if you don't have nothing nice to say, then don't say nothing at all? Violent Night should have never been made. I frigging hated every second of it. And I love John Wick. I am so sorry. This was one of those movies that I watched and I hate tweeted my way through it. I sat there and Allie asked me to turn it off. And I said, I have a responsibility to these guys. I made it 80% through this movie.
You didn't even finish.
No,
the movie.
I gave up and I read the rest because it was so painful to watch.
There's
I
a book?
hated- I read the synopsis.
I gave up and read the novel. I hate it
Right
so
now.
much.
This was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And there's another movie
my
on this list
gosh.
that's as bad. I hated it. I don't love Die Hard, but I hated Violent Night. It was so stupid.
I'm surprised that you are bad mouthing this beautifully original concept movie in favor of the franchise film that fizzled out.
What?
That got tired. You, Mr. I like original concepts.
Die Hard was
Die
an
Hard
original.
is the epitome.
It was the original. What? No, that's a bad argument to make.
Hey, to be fair,
Die Hard became a franchise that fell flat. If you could say that about Chronicles of Narnia, you can also say that about Die Hard.
We're talking.
I mean, Violent Night is an original movie, a standalone story.
To be fair, Violent Night was done by Bruce Willis in the movie Hostage. It just didn't take place at Christmas. Where he got
Violent Night was one of the dumbest wastes of my brain cells I've ever witnessed. I'm sorry. I
Wait,
get it.
cells? I thought we only had one.
I know.
Which
Where
one-
do you
Do
think
you
they all
not
went? We
waste
had
our
more
one?
before I watched this. We had more than one. And then I watched this, and now we're down to one. And I'm sorry. I get it. David Harbour was in Stranger Things. Ha ha. It's John Wick for Christmas. It didn't do anything for me. I wish I had not seen it. It was very bad. I respect your opinion, but I hate
Yeah.
it.
So again, I'd mentioned this before when talking about nacho cheese. Okay. This is accepting it for what it is.
This isn't even nacho cheese. This is someone melted a yellow crayon on my chips, and I went, ew, gross. And they went, ha ha, you thought it was nacho cheese, but it's not. It's a melted crayon. And I went, this is disgusting. And you went, yeah, but you didn't expect it. It was original. And I hate it. I hate it so much.
I know you do, but there are some things you kind of have to turn your brain off for.
I can't do that.
And
my brain, it's still
I know
working.
you can't.
It's still working.
I know you can't.
Do you want me to become a vegetable? Is that what
Listen,
you want?
Kristen and I watched.
You watched Veggie Tales. It's not that bad.
Kristen and I watched what I would consider the finale of a prestige television show. I'm not going to even tell you what it is because I know your opinions. We sat there and we just kind of stared off into space.
What show? I am curious, though. I won't judge you.
No, I see a hook dangling there. Ain't you?
No, I promise. You're allowed to like different
And
things.
we decided to have a palate cleanser. It was on Netflix at the time. I'll give you that much of a clue. This was back in 2013. And we decided to watch Zoolander. After
Zoolander's really well written, though. It may be dumb,
Yes,
but it's super well written.
Going from the kind of make
If
you
it was
think
Lost, I hate Lost.
existential-
It's okay.
No, it wasn't Lost. We turned on Zoolander.
Grey's Anatomy? I hate Grey's Anatomy.
I love Zoolander in the
Yeah.
right setting. Just like I love nacho cheese and a high school basketball game, okay?
Yes, but Zoolander is well written. That's what I'm saying. This movie was just
turned it off.
Dog water. This was dog water.
Oh, you didn't
'Cause-
you didn't finish Zoolander.
No. I turned it on like, oh, this will be a palate cleanser. We both looked at each other like, I can't. I just no. This is the movie that when you're a 9-year-old who has your army man, you're sucking on a candy cane, you get one of your mom's Santa Clauses down from the mantle, you pull the candy cane out, and you're like, it's sharp. And you put the candy cane in Santa's hand and you bash your action figures together.
I think
okay?
you and Cody need therapy. I don't think that you need to be watching more movies.
Alex, I've also realized the difference. What were you watching the other day that you said you were hope watching?
Hope watch. Oh, I hope watched the Zack Snyder movie on Netflix. Moon, Rebel Moon, Hope Moon
No,
Rising.
the Marvels.
Oh, the Marvels. Yes, I really.
Yeah, 'cause you
wanted
were
to like it.
like-
I wanted to like it.
I have realized, I don't know why I've ruminated on this since you said that. I've realized the difference between hate watching and hope watching. If your internal monologue or your external dialogue in a chat could be the transcript to Cinema Sins, you're hate watching it. If it could be the transcript to Cinema Wins, you're hope watching it.
Interesting.
It's like, what am I choosing to think on, or what am I choosing to send to people? Then, it was very clear that what was the one you were hate watching? Violent Night. Yeah,
Violent Night.
It was very clear that you were hate watching Violent Night.
Gosh. With the Marvels, I was like, oh, come on. That was so bad. Why? It was doing great. And then that was the same for the Zack Snyder movie, where I was like, come on, what?
I watched the Marvels
Violent
again,
Night
and I
had no redeeming qualities. I would watch the Marvels again before Violent Night. I would watch
I watched
the original Captain Marvel. I would watch Thor: The Dark World before I watched Violent Night again.
You're just digging your own.
I
grave
watched the
here, buddy.
Marvels
You're
again,
just
and I felt like Thanos with Nebula. Like, perhaps I treated you too harshly.
That's how I feel after watching Violent Night. You know what? Violent Night makes me think Phase 4 was actually the best phase of Marvel. That's how I feel about Violent Night. It was so
Wow,
bad.
Strong feelings here.
It was so bad. And I don't even like
So-
Die Hard. I want them both to lose. Is that better?
So we know Alex's pick. Cody,
What is it? Did you say what it was?
Look, David Harbour was incredibly charming as Santa Claus. The concept was inventive and original, and also like one of those movies where yes, you turn your brain off And I realize when I watch movies, I engage in the sunk cost fallacy. I find things to like about it because I've spent 2 hours watching it.
Here's the fun fact. You don't have to do that. You can just turn it off.
Not whenever we're going to do a whole podcast about it. You can't.
But that was that podcast. Like, if I spend $10 in movie theater, I will find things to enjoy.
Your hope
Like,
watching.
I found redeeming I found redeeming qualities to Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. That's how far this goes in my brain. And yeah. And with that being said, as much as I defended Violet Night, I gotta give it to Die Hard. I gotta give it to Die Hard. It's a classic.
You know, that's sad. I don't even take joy in him agreeing with me.
Dallas.
I gotta give it to Die Hard for the Alan Rickman factor alone. For the Alan Rickman factor alone, I'm giving it to Die Hard.
Dallas.
So
I didn't hate Violent Night because I don't think they were going for anything than what it was. I don't think they were like, people aren't understanding the art behind this masterpiece. Like, he pees on people like right off the rip. So like, it's not like, I saw what they were going for, and I thought it was good for what it was going for. Now, outside of the Santa Claus part of that, like, Bruce Willis did a movie called Hostage where he gets stuck in a house and people are held hostage in a highfalutin house, and he has to, murder to fix the problem. So, like, similar concepts, but that...
Is that the same one that was like the safe room concept as well?
Ish. I think it was...
Bruce Willis has a type. Okay?
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
He was in Vince, and he murdered people. I just don't think they were Russian at the time. They did drugs.
It was probably the Russians. The 80s, it was always Red Scare. Like, that was the bad guys. It could have gone to Korea.
I think this was
North
90s
Korea.
action, so we'd moved on.
Was it North Korea at that point?
I think it was just RoboCop brought in, like, drugs are bad, and so
Okay.
it was just that.
Got it.
Die Hard, though, I grew up with Die Hard, and Die Hard has always had a place in my heart, and I may or may not have tried to tie myself to things and jump off the side of buildings. And I've quoted that movie at every point in my life, and it's a movie that I tell my students that they have to watch at Christmas because it's relevant to both criminal justice and Christmas. So my vote is Die Hard, for sure.
I watched Die Hard for the first time today, and I enjoyed it.
All of you.
I'm waiting for him to just drop the "are correct," but I just wanted to watch Alex squirm, and that was... Is that where it's going?
Are 100% correct. Yes, I'm voting for Die Hard. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
This
Violent Night...
if it was actually John Wick, it would be
Violent
Die
Night
Hard.
would win in a lot of other competitions on this bracket. It would win on a lot, but it couldn't.
I completely and totally disagree that it's a waste of time. You have to accept what it is. And this is
I reject what it is. I rebuke it in the name of...
This is a new hotness, though, right? Because, like, they just also released a movie called Thanksgilling, which is like...
and Winnie the Pooh, blood and murder, or whatever it was. Yeah. Okay, great.
I accepted it. Like, I went and watched a Rambo movie with my wife, and whenever he ripped somebody's esophagus out of her throat...
Oh, yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, she was like, that was cool.
Sure.
Like,
and
it's...
Put it up against Roadhouse. All right, great. It's a...
So,
dumb.
yes, but Die Hard wins. But that was fun.
Yes.
Okay. The second matchup inside the Rated R bracket is The Holdovers, which is new entry just into the lexicon of movies, and Love Actually.
See, I don't feel like this one's fair.
They're like rated R for the weird reason. Like, not like Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon, or Santa Claus blowing people up and shoving a star into somebody's eye and electrocuting them. No, this is like, I'm having a deep romantic relationship, and I'm an angry teacher, and her son went to Vietnam. Like, that kind of rated R. So it's very different vibes.
Like, both of those movies could be PG-13.
In theory, yeah.
Like they could work as
they're
PG-13 movies
not.
if they just they're not.
They had a different version on cable as well.
Wait, there was definitely a
And-
cut of Love Actually I had never seen before. Allie walks in. Why? Do we need to go to counseling, marriage counseling? No, this is actually for research purposes. I promise. I'm watching it for the plot.
I will say this. Love Actually is a movie that 40% of it could have made it my championship winner. About 40% of it. But then there was Alan Rickman cheating on his wife. And then there was Martin Freeman in the nude.
Now, what's funny is for that exact same reason, Michelle was a big fan of it for the Martin Freeman part. But
it, like, now, one thing Michelle is like, anything that deals with cheating, she just has a visceral hatred of. Yeah. And so I was deeply uncomfortable with most of that. Now, Liam Neeson helping his son, like helping his son as he's grieving his wife, and his kid running through the airport was so sweet, heartwarming, and endearing. I just like so rooted for the kid. I so rooted for the kid on a whole lot of levels, and it's one of those like acts of love that I just love. I just makes me so happy. But the rest of it ruined it for me. The Holdovers was good. The Holdovers was good, but I'll be honest, probably won't watch it again. Won't watch it again, but I'm going to give it to The Holdovers just because of all the bad parts of Love Actually. Yep.
Love Actually felt like to me, I know it's very episodic and you're following these different vignettes. It felt like a season of a television show that they chopped up into a movie.
that is
And
a
there were
perfect
And
description.
there were episodes that are like season finale material. Like if this was the episode or the vignette you're following, and like I care about that story. And one of my criteria for like the perfect Christmas movie as well has to be you can watch it with everyone. And I know that eliminates, we're in the rated R bracket, so
like
that
Violent
eliminates.
Night.
We had a rated R
Come
bracket.
on in. Come
okay?
sit down. We're going to tell you the story of Santa Claus. How he
Watch
used to
as
be
Santa-
a Viking.
Santa used to be. Anyway,
So
I would be.
It's so
outside
dumb.
of
It's so dumb.
outside
it's
of some of
smart.
the.
No, it's just dumb. Benoit
I feel
Blanc.
like the cable cut of The Holdovers would be a classic movie. Like if dial back some of the language a little bit, and if it was just that teacher student relation. I know that they're high schoolers, and that dialogue did not surprise me. Like that's probably how it actually happened. That was very true to form. But love I'm gonna give it to The Holdovers.
Wow.
As much as. Yeah, and the whole opening sequence, the fact that it looked like it was shot on vintage film grain, they used all of the original like logos for the opening title. Like that was
it's all shot like that, and even the sound mixing is.
It felt like a modern day classic, like you made a classic movie in modern day. That whole thing was cool. So for that,
that was very cool.
I'll give it to The Holdovers.
I understand why Love Actually is a phenomenon, why it became a phenomenon, because it was an airport-based movie in 2003. And it was sort of a cathartic release for a lot of people regarding, the post 9/11 world. The post 9/11 world. I understand why it was a phenomenon, but there's just too much of it I don't like.
That's fair.
Love Actually feels like I should have liked it, but there was just so much going on, and I didn't care. Like when you said it was like a TV show, I was gonna compare it to Grey's Anatomy, where it was just like so many subplots, and I'm just like, I don't care about half of this. Oh, but they all interconnect. I'm like, great. We've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2 hours over here. Don't care about 30% of these people. The Holdovers was a movie that my mother-in-law picked for our family Christmas movie. And she has a history of picking some of the worst movies of all time. We saw one with Emilia Clarke, who was in Game of Thrones as the Dragon Girl.
Last
Christmas. And she's
Cody
listen,
said that
I'm-
like it was talking about Vietnam.
It was the dumbest movie. Allie and I had figured out the entire twist 20 minutes in, and we were just leaning over. It's so dumb. And so
you can replace Christmas with Tuesday, and it's the same
Well,
song.
that's not the movie, but you know, the fact is when
I wasn't going to watch a movie based on that song.
Well,
okay.
when her mom picked this movie, there was a little fear, a little trepidation, and I walked out going, "That was one of the best movies I've ever seen." Like it's one of those it's like a Good Will Hunting plus Dead Poets Society set at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Really couldn't go wrong. Do I think it's going to be an all-time favorite? No, but is it one of the best well-made movies? Yeah.
I know Dead Poet Society. Like last year when we watched Dead Poet Society and the ending happened, Michelle refused to watch any more movies with me. So like Dead Poet Society,
the ending or
it's
like
not the compliment you think it is in this household.
Well, Dead Poet Society is the ending, or do you mean like the 50%
the ending?
The ending?
The ending was just like she quit watching the rest of the movies with me as after that.
Well, you say the climax of the third act.
Yes, that part.
That would be okay. I know what you're talking about. The
kid. What happened to the kid? Yeah.
It ends on a very positive note.
It does. It does.
The Holdovers ends on a even more positive note, and it's got the same kind of teacher-student bond, helping learn life.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So
it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but I'm glad I watched it.
Dallas? I mean, I think that's 3 votes for the holdover. Like, we need to stop going to you last when we're all in agreement.
Right. I mean, I'm going to vote for the holdovers too, because obviously I'm not built for Love Actually in any way, shape, or form. But I feel
you're
like
a big Anglophile. You're a big sappy rom-com guy. I feel like it's your cup of tea.
I am an Anglophile.
I feel like
so.
Love Actually, like if you told AI, like you fed AI a whole bunch of Hallmark movies, and then you also fed it a description of HBO in the 90s, and you're like, make a movie set it around Christmas. And it'd be like, I got you. It's called Love Actually, and this is what it is.
Why does that work so well? Like, why does...
And then if you told that same AI, here's Dead Poet Society, but make it Christmassy, then you would get the holdover. Just mashups of two things. It
You've
just
yet
works
to
better
describe-
there.
Yeah.
It does work better there, and I did like it. I don't feel like it was exploring any new ground, which most Christmas movies are not.
To that extent, I watched it without Kristen, and I would tell her a plot point and ask her what came next, and the accuracy with which she predicted what came next in the holdover was astounding.
I mean, it's a very classic movie. It just feels...
And there's comfort in the familiar, and like I can see how some people would consider that one like there wasn't any. I mean, spoilers for the holdovers in case you're going to watch it, but there like wasn't any dramatic deaths, or there wasn't like there wasn't any like graphic sex scenes, or there wasn't. He drinks a little alcohol, but there wasn't any like pervasive like drug use or anything. Like it's
just a lot of language. It's the 70s.
There was language, and but it felt accurate to the time. So I enjoyed it. I'm kind of with Cody that it was like I'm glad I watched it. But if I'm going to queue up my like Christmas classics,
I feel like I would watch it more not at Christmas, as like I need something to like to go through that roller coaster.
Okay.
Like
maybe late autumn kind of feel.
Yeah, that's exactly
early winter,
I can see that.
pre-Christmas.
Yeah, March during the madness, perhaps.
Maybe a February.
Yeah,
January
for science.
Okay, so the holdovers advances, and that's the last
Going up
matchup
against
inside
Die
of
Hard.
the rated R bracket. Okay, we're gonna take our first break inside of March Madness, and when we come back, we've got the Carol Conference. So we'll be back in just a second.
Paul Giamatti versus Bruce Willis.
Yes. Okay, we're back. This I've called it the Carol Conference because these are all interpretations, or just straight up remakes of A Christmas Carol. We've got Spirited versus The Muppets Christmas Carol, and Jim Carrey's animated Christmas Carol versus Bill Murray's Scrooged.
There is a
First up
lot
is-
of comedic powerhouse
Ooh,
in this.
yeah.
Because Spirited also has Will Ferrell in it.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds, obviously. So, boom, right there.
And the Muppets.
The Muppets on their
Like-
own are a comedic powerhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey
And
and,
it's
Bill Murray.
and it's almost funny how seriously Michael Caine took the role. Like, you keep waiting for him to break and acknowledge that he's with Muppets, and he doesn't. And that in its own right is a little comedic to me.
I think we can
He-
all agree on this
he's-
first bracket, though. Yes, on the Spirited versus Muppets. Are we all in agreement?
Look, Michael Caine says it's old Fozziwig's Rubber Chicken Factory, like it's a line out of Dickens. Michael Caine for the win. Not the movie, yes, but Michael Caine just as a person is just a winner. Like
that's my struggle. Is Michael Caine is always a win, but musicals are always a lose, pretty much. And
Wait a second. Aren't these
yeah.
both?
Spirit? Yeah, I didn't like Spirited either.
they're both musicals.
And there's no
musicals.
Michael Caine. So Muppets.
Both musicals, one has Michael Caine.
Yeah, exactly. Do you see where I'm going
It's like
with this?
movies with Sean Connery are better than movies without Sean Connery.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Spirited leans harder for me than the Muppet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it wasn't as cut and dry as I thought. Dallas, lead the way.
Spirited is different, and
It's the one with the horse, right? I watched it and I did not understand how it was Christmas.
That's Spirited.
That's Spirit.
That's Spirit. Stallion of Cimarron.
I've also
No, wait,
watched
it's the
all
one
of
with the moving
those.
house, right?
My mom's favorite animated movie.
It's the one with the
it
moving
was-
house and the guy with the mask, right? With the big eye slits?
Yeah, exactly.
Japanese?
Yeah.
Okay.
Howl's
I have
Moving
not
Castle.
seen that
Yeah.
one.
No,
Spirited Away?
Spirited
Not seen
Away.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that a Christmas movie?
no, I'm just talking about all the
no.
different Spirited.
Who knows?
I don't have
Everything,
a lot of,
everything's a Christmas movie
yeah,
now.
I don't have a lot of love for Muppets. I like Muppets just fine, but I don't. It doesn't hold a special place in my heart. And if I were talking about Christmas Carol stuff, like the only one that like I actively give a crap about is the Mickey Mouse one, and that's not on here. So the rest of these, like, I
And
don't
I'm
have
shocked
those-
that it wasn't.
Who made
Right.
this list? We need to take this up with Oh, no. Never mind. Please keep all of your comments to yourselves.
Spirited was an interesting movie in general. Muppets is a good movie, but it wasn't my favorite.
It was a fun take on the Christmas Carol trope.
Yeah.
Spirited was, but
Yeah.
I know who wins this.
I really enjoyed Spirited. Like I really did. I enjoyed that movie. A Christmas Carol is my favorite non-nativity Christmas story. Just bar none, straight up. I love.
You've got Rogue One, the BBC Nativity, A Christmas Carol.
Like I'm saying, if Jesus is the Deathly Hallows of Christmas movies,
I'm
you know,
tracking.
the thing that you.
if this December
you're
was the
setting aside, or
December
the
of our December,
of the Avengers Endgame, if it's the Avengers Endgame at Christmas, it's a Christmas Carol for me, and that comes from a deep love that
Okay.
goes all the way
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to high school when my speech and drama team days. And so this whole bracket is just I win.
yeah.
See, for me, like,
fair?
A Christmas Carol, like the Mickey Mouse one is what I grew up with. So that was my first introduction to it in general. So that's why it holds a place. But then I read A Christmas Carol and I was like, this is horrifying
Yeah.
and telling a very cautionary tale.
Yeah.
And so then whenever I go back and I'm like, everybody's interpreting this as funny, I don't understand.
That was my gripe with the Muppets and why, even though I'm voting for the Muppets over Spirited, I don't think I will vote for it in the next. Spoilers, won't be voting for it further. But
That's fair.
If I'm going to introduce that story to children, it's either Mickey or Muppets. Like that's the
Oh.
one to go for.
I'll go
That's
Mickey
the one to
over
go for.
Muppets.
But it's either Mickey or Muppets. But obviously, it's not a faithful adaptation to the Dickens tale. I've read the book.
Wasn't there an
Yes.
FX TV show
Yes.
that it was like, ooh, it's a dark, gritty reboot, and they were like, no, actually, this is kind of this tracks.
Yeah, it's close to the close to the Dickens
So
book.
normally, okay, Ryan Reynolds. That seems to be the you play the Ryan Reynolds card. It's guaranteed. Like, oh, he's bringing back Deadpool. He's literally Marvel Messiah. He's going to save the MCU. Like everything he touched kind of turns to gold. Sure. Oh, he's going to be in a musical. Oh, I didn't know he could sing. Oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. We are a big musical household. We like a good musical. We like the Paul and Pasek, that writing team. They did Dear Evan Hansen. They did The Greatest Showman. They did La La Land. The music for that
I was
one.
going to say the greatest musical.
This felt like they reached that prestige status, and that's when Tim Cook was like, we want to make a musical. I want them. And this felt like a kind of felt like it was phoning it in.
I agree.
Like the music very much felt their flavor. There was nothing that stood out for me. And as much as Ryan Reynolds is a national treasure, nobody's going to jump on that one because he's not from here anyway. As much as Ryan Reynolds is a national treasure.
Was it Ryan Reynolds that we actually joked about? No, that was Hugh Jackman.
Well, they're both Canadian.
Hugh Jackman.
This was playing the lot.
Hugh Jackman's not Canadian.
But that was the whole joke. It said because he played Logan, and Logan was Canadian anyway.
He's Southern Canadian.
So, his singing was fine. Will Ferrell's the singing performances were fine. The music writing felt kind of like they phoned it in. That was like, oh, we are. Was it Paul and Pasek? Like we are this team. Like of course because we made it. This one came down to the can I watch it with everybody? And like I know several people who would kind of be a little offended by the movie. So
yeah, how dare you bring Michael Caine in with the Muppets? That is just
no. I'm going for the Muppets.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah, I'm going Muppets.
I think my only, and I'm going to leave it at this. Ryan Reynolds has stopped playing parts. He is only ever playing Ryan Reynolds.
Or does he go for parts where he can just play Ryan Reynolds?
That's what I'm saying. Like he's just. I think he knows what's safe. And it's a commodity, and he can just be himself in the same way that Dwayne Johnson is always just Dwayne Johnson.
Nick Cage there for a while.
Nick Cage.
Now he only plays movies where he is Nicolas Cage. Like that has to be the name of the character.
Quite literally. I don't know. That's just my thought. I was just like, I want to love it. I want to love Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, but they're just kind of being Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, you know? And at least Michael Caine brings a level of gravitas to the Muppets. That was a terrible Michael Caine.
Muppets.
You tried your best, though.
I'm Morgan Freeman, and I confirm that was a terrible Michael Caine.
All right. Muppets. Advances?
Muppets.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Jim Carrey's Christmas Carol versus Scrooged with a D.
Okay,
Dallas,
so this
you don't
Jim
lead
Carrey,
off enough.
This one is scary, but for the wrong reasons. It's scary because their eyes don't look in the same direction all the time at the same time. So this suffers from the time period in which it came out. I feel like that uncanny valley weird. So
Polar Express.
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah.
It's the same director. It's Robert Zemeckis.
Did he do the Beowulf
He only can do
one,
bad
too?
animation and explosions. Like that's all he can do.
Did
So,
he direct Beowulf? That
Robert Zemeckis has done a ton of movies, and then you're like, wait a second, yeah, he has done the Beowulf one, where it's like
it's
is
the
that
same
all
CGI.
Yeah.
I think at the time, like that's all their computer could do, but that doesn't mean that it's still not.
At least with, I think they learned from the Polar Express because I think I've got the timeline correct. I believe the Polar Express came out before this one. They kind of they caricatured a lot of these faces, and so yes, it teeters on the uncanny valley for me, but I'm like, oh yes, it's a caricature. Of course, that's not what a human looks like. So I can kind of get past it, but I agree. It's like too similar that it's like, oh yeah, no, I can totally see how this is a problem for a lot of people.
This could be my favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol if it were it were traditionally animated, traditionally CGI animated, or claymation.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel you. I get it.
And
I think it nails the tone properly. Like this is it is a warning that if you are a terrible human, bad things are coming your way, and Christmas is a time of hope and cheer. You need to get your act together, Scrooge. I think it nails it better than any other in here. But I see how its Achilles heel is the animation style.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
I'm not a huge fan of Scrooge, but I think it gets my vote because the
Really?
animation
Okay.
from that time, it's hard for me to go back and watch it again because it just makes my eyeballs weird in a way that makes it kind of hard to watch. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for it, so like there's no other anchors that pull me through that.
I get it.
I also
I get it.
don't watch Scrooged all the time either because kind of the same reason. But
Scrooged was a first time watch for me. With this whole thing, and for like the first 45 minutes, I was deeply uncomfortable with Bill Murray's character and just the kind of creeper vibe that his character was giving off.
Yeah, he was a real Scrooge, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Carol Kane showed up, and I love Carol Kane in both Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Marion Ravenwood from Raiders of the Lost Ark is in this movie.
Yeah, you buried the lead there. I was like, wait.
Is in this movie.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
That's the
yes.
That's the Lucasfilm connection. Indiana Jones is like God tier movies for me. And then it's directed by the director of Superman the movie, Richard Donner. So I felt like morally and legally obligated to like this. So my vote goes to Scrooged.
Ooh.
Both of these were on the list because I added them. And Scrooged is a movie that my father-in-law loves. And I have come to a very sad realization. I don't like Bill Murray movies. I don't. I just do not like Bill Murray movies. I don't care about Caddyshack. I do not care one iota about Ghostbusters. The only movie that he's been in that I go, oh, wow, Bill Murray was Zombieland. And he gets murdered. I just don't, it's not my cup of tea. And this is the same thing. I think that, I get why the Uncanny Valley doesn't work for you all. And so no skin off my back. I'm going Jim Carrey with Christmas Carol.
Scrooge landed the plane well for me. It landed the plane.
Okay.
Like the first
That's
half was good, but it landed the plane well.
Can you watch it with the whole family though?
I'm not saying that that criteria means that needs to be a movie that wins this bracket.
No,
it's just what I consider. So Polar Express was meant to be an interpretation of the illustration style from the Polar Express book. Like it was supposed to be like those pages kind of came to life, and it was popular. It made a lot of money, but they took the wrong lesson from it. It was, oh, people really like this animation style. Let's tell another Christmas story in the same style. And like, no. This was supposed to be like the book came to life, just like the Peanuts comic strip in the newspaper come to life, and that's what anyway. So animation style aside, this was also when 3D was like the future of cinema, and so a lot of the shots in there were made for that like at the camera motion. If I never watch Scrooged again, it will be all too soon. Like it was, I was like, I think Cody's going to vote for this because I got Karen Allen and Margot Kidder mixed up there for a little bit because I thought, oh, Lois Lane's in it. It's Richard Donner. Like, obviously Cody's going to vote.
They do look similar, don't
they? I thought that they did until I
they do
just a little bit
until I looked them up. But
I never realized that, but they do.
Because I was like, honestly. Seriously, you went for Superman and you went for Bill Murray in this movie. Like his receding hairline mullet. Come on.
Like,
He was a terrible person, but in ways that make you feel like gross. Not like
not in like miserly penny pincher
evil ways, but in like, I don't want to have a black light anywhere around you. Because you've
like, he would have been friends with a guy who owned an island, that kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I just
Carol
Kane was a delight. She always, and whenever she goes up and knees him in the nuts, I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Well, that's just
That's when my
the
opinion
idea is that
turned.
he's supposed to learn a lesson. He's Scrooge, and I get it. But also, if you make him so irredeemable, then I just don't believe it.
So, Jim Carrey's Christmas Carol wins for me.
I will say, and in defense, I'm showing a picture right now of the original illustrations of the Christmas Carol. The animation style is caricaturized, cartoonized. What the word I'm saying? Yes, they're designing the art style like some of the original Dickens prints, and I like. Okay,
it's the dead eyes.
You tried.
It's that part of the animation during that time that gets.
Well, they put coins over it, and then they bury them with the dead. Oh, you're talking about all the time. No.
Full time dead eyes.
Well, is that 2-2 right now? Omar Valentine.
Omar lost a lot of credibility on this one with that Jingle All the Way reference. I love you, Omar, but I'm not sure what happened there.
All right, I said, all right, this is Morgan Freeman once again reading the text messages between Omar Fallon and Alex Christian. Alex sends, one more tiebreaker. You ready? Omar hasn't said anything. We'll see if he responds in a timely manner or if the other group chat. He says yes. Never mind. I'm doing this in real-time narration. He says yes. Alex says Scrooged with Bill Murray versus the animated Jim Carrey, A Christmas Carol. And now we wait. I played God in several movies.
Several movies?
We're getting some.
There was Bruce Almighty, and then there was Evan Almighty.
Was he in both of those?
I can't remember at this point in time. I thought he was.
In both of those.
Was he? Also, does it count as several?
I see. Shut your mouth, Dallas.
I didn't know I was going to be sassed by fake, real fake.
Get back in your cage, you old hag.
Get the stick. Yep.
Please, not the stick.
That just feels wrong. No,
It's actually quite comfy. Alex has told me that my agent is. No, I'm going to stop while I'm behind.
Hold on. He's still. We're still waiting.
I asked the other group first.
Jim Carrey is not one of my favorites though either. Like I
That's
don't like
fair.
his version of the
It depends on the performance.
His over the topness can sometimes just be too over the top for me.
He is in Evan Almighty. I remember now because that's where the do the dance became a thing. Do you all remember?
Barely.
Wow, how dare you not remember one of my lesser roles, Dallas? On a scale of 1 to 10, does this even sound anything like Morgan Freeman? 1 being absolutely not, it sounds like Alex. With 10 being, holy crap, that's Morgan Freeman. Where does it rank?
This is the Jim Carrey's Christmas Carol version of Morgan Freeman.
It's the uncanny valley.
It's a caricature of him, but it has dead eyes.
They're not dead. They're just locked behind a cage. Alex won't let me out until Williams' credit to Cameo.com is paid in full.
Listen, I'm going to be paying that debt off for years to come.
This is where we find out William is pulling an Abed where he is just cranking these out but not paying them, and they're going to come and try to break his kneecaps one day.
Wow. Yeah, so it's funny because we're waiting on both the group chat with all of Cody's Horcruxes, and we're waiting on Omar, and neither has responded. I think that's just a resounding neither wins. And they're both going up against the Muppets, and that makes me sad inside a little bit.
Why is nobody there's a lot of people
Nobody's
in this
talking
spread,
to us.
and there's.
Should I just yell down to Allie, be like, "Hey, wait, Kristen, Michelle's asleep. Yes.
Yes.
Kayla awake.
I don't think so. We all have to get up at 6, so she's probably.
Come on, Omar. I know you're awake because you replied yes.
He's either deep in thought or he's like, I got to take a dump before I answer this question.
He's like, what kind of terrible question is
I think
this?
he is very judgmental about the movies that we even get put in the bracket. He's like, why are any of these
He's
there?
like, how did we get to this point? Yeah. This isn't fair. This isn't right.
This is going well. Why do we have so many ties?
I thought for sure. I thought for sure that Scrooge was not going to make it, so I didn't know we were going to get to this point.
Does anybody want to change their vote?
Dallas is like,
I'm not backing out.
No, I'm not.
Josiah Kron's responded with, haven't seen either. Damn
Oh
it.
my!
No.
Thank you for your table
Wow,
topic.
who would've
last
thought-
time, but you're useless.
Okay, for this,
Oh, the Craig came out there.
for the sake of moving on, I'm changing my vote to Jim Carrey.
Wow, no, you can't do that to us. You are allowed to have your opinion, and you are allowed to hold it, just wave it high and proud.
This is one where
You
don't,
are allowed.
like, I'm
to, like-
not deep set either way here. Like, both of these were not the greatest.
That's fair. And let's be honest, if either of them go up against the Muppet Christmas Carol,
yeah, they're
Kermit's going to female slap him. Like, it's going to be a.
Miss Piggy slap him?
she's gonna miss Piggy slap him. Yeah. Okay. So
Ew, I hated that.
Cody, you're
I'm changing it to Jim Carrey just so that we can move.
okay.
Just so
All
that we
right,
can move on.
Jim Carrey.
You mean to tell me that I pulled out the Morgan?
Wait.
Oh.
Omar. Omar has replied.
Omar has just replied, and his answer is Jim Carrey.
All
Yes.
right. Jim
just
Carrey's
Jim
moving
Carrey
on.
in general.
All he said was Jim Carrey.
All right.
Thank you,
You
Omar.
woke him up
I'll
and he
go
looked
back
at it and
to
he's
my
like, I woke up
cell.
for this crap. And he's like, okay. Just threw his phone back.
All right, that is the Christmas Carol conference. Finally, we were going to take a break, and when we come back, we've got 2 more conferences before we finish out our first round of 32. So we'll take a break, and we'll be right back.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, guys, we're back, and this is the animation conference. And these,
This might be the
Yeah,
hardest
I
bracket
think
we've
this,
had
this
so
is
far.
a great problem because I have thoroughly
Yes.
enjoyed either watching new or have enjoyed for years every movie in this bracket. So right out of the gate, we have, oh wow, okay, Charlie Brown Christmas up against the Netflix animated movie Klaus. I know. Well, I don't know. Cody had this smirk on his face. I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I doubted myself.
I think Cody has a devilish grin because he is going to throw us a curveball. So send it.
I'm going to play it straight here. Charlie Brown is the 800-pound head in the room. It's
you would know about that, wouldn't you, sir?
I
That's my spirit animal right there.
honestly, I
Bad at football and sports and big head.
I relate to Charlie Brown right there. And if it wasn't for the juggernaut that is Charlie Brown Christmas, Klaus would have had a fighting chance against
Agreed.
pretty much every movie left going down our list. Every movie going down our list. I loved Klaus.
Jason Schwartzman.
I just
J.K.
I
Simmons.
loved it.
You got J. Jonah Jameson in there.
The animation was brilliant. Loved it. But Charlie Brown is the 800-pound head in the room, and I got to give it to Charlie Brown.
That's
like-
fair. I don't say this lightly. I think Klaus, Santa Claus is coming to town better than Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I it as far as an origin story for Santa Claus that had so much emotional heart behind it and had a bigger visceral effect on the town. And this one felt like it had so much more history and lore behind it. It was, but as far as, oh man,
I love how he said so much without saying anything at all. It's just like been grunts and moans, and it's like we all are like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah.
This one's tough,
I'm like,
but
yeah,
I do
no.
have a solid pick.
I want to do a quick little experiment as William is tearing himself apart internally. I get it.
So there's a try.
Because I look at this.
And there are, no, not that one.
And you can pull the lever and 3 movies will die or 1 will die. I look at this list and I go, holy cow, the number of movies made before the 80s and 70s in here. Even movies that are designed to look like the 70s. For whatever reason, we have not had a great Christmas movie in a long time.
Christmas culture is a confluence of the 1940s, the 1960s, and the 1840s. Like, it's just
That
all
is a beautiful way of putting it. Yes. You get that. It's like golden age Christmas. And very few movies capture that as well as these two do. So Klaus is that breath of fresh air. Cody's 100% right, though. Charlie Brown Christmas is not only the one of the best soundtracks of all time with the Vince Guaraldi trio, one of the best scores of all time, and it's Charlie Brown, the Peanuts. You love it. You love to root for him as the underdog, and it brings the Christmas story home and puts it literally center stage, and that's beautiful. That it's like, hey, what is this all about? I don't get it. These are the same struggles that we've been struggling with for 2,000 years. Cool. I love it. Charlie Brown gets my vote. But if this was any other bracket, Klaus would be the winner. And that's like, wow, that sucks. Wish we had put Klaus up against Violent Night or, yeah. I mean, or up against Spirited or something, just so it's like, wow, I wish you had your time to shine. But no, you're going up against Charlie Brown. That sucks,
Yeah.
you know?
This is
1 versus
I
a
would
2
argue
seed kind of
out
thing.
of this entire bracket, maybe outside of Klaus, because Klaus is entering into my seasonal rotation of Christmas movies. Like, I will watch that again at Christmas time. I would argue that amongst these movies, the last great Christmas movie of recent time would probably be Elf.
Yes, I would agree with that.
As far as like a new movie, new idea, recent movie that has become an instant classic, I would say it was Elf until I watched Klaus. But I got to give it to Charlie Brown.
Really? I thought me and you were going to tie this thing up. I really did.
I do. And it was so close.
I love.
You mean to tell me like Christmas time is here?
Those are great, but they don't make me feel the emotions that Klaus makes. That is a good time the whole time, but never do I feel sad and then happy and then also laugh as I do in Klaus. And
Klaus made me cry, like left the orbit, run down the cheeks.
Charlie Brown is the animated equivalent of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
That's the way I'll phrase it, in the sense of like, man, I don't know what it is about the Midwest. Like, I know you guys claim Kentucky's more the South or Appalachia. I get
Kentucky's
it.
its own
Louisville
thing.
is the Midwest.
We beat by our own drum.
Yeah, it's its own beast entirely. It's very much the Midwest in a lot of ways, though, because you just have that. It's also why I like Calvin and Hobbes, where the winter becomes this time where it's pensive. And I know, William, you've talked about this before, where like Kentucky has seasons and you feel certain ways in certain seasons. Charlie Brown captures the feeling of winter and that deep pensive nature of winter as those seasons end and the world is quieting. And then there's this mass just slap in the face of consumerism. And it's like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Charlie Brown gets to the heart of it. That's why
I
it
would
gets
almost
my
argue
vote.
between these two that Charlie Brown was more of the White Christmas and Klaus was more of the It's a Wonderful
That's what
Life.
I was thinking because like it has
Like,
Really?
it has lows of sadness, whereas Charlie
you have to
Brown
watch.
rides highs kind
Yeah.
of the whole time.
It's a Wonderful Life, and you have to watch Klaus. But you could throw Charlie Brown on in the background and still have a great time. You're in the Christmas spirit. You could sit down and watch it. But between the two,
That's just saying, that is explaining how good both of these
Yeah.
movies are, though.
Yeah.
So, cool. I'm not
No,
mad.
these are like it was like, oh man, you're putting both of my favorites against. So
Yeah. Yep.
So it wins
Yeah,
out, right, Charlie Brown?
yeah, that's
Yep.
that's
On
how I felt
to-
about two of the Harry Potter movies being in the same
Yeah.
conference.
I'm
the
sorry.
last
I was
time.
trying to be cruel there. This one is
I
just
know.
incidental.
These- I made this bracket, so you can lob the tomatoes at me. No, don't throw them yet. We need to save. Anyway, okay. Charlie Brown moves on now. As far as the last half of the animation bracket, we have How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Frosty the Snowman.
William?
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your why? I know you hate being asked for a why, so I'm going to ask it. Is it just a vibe, or is
dare
it
I
a say it?
I have
Do it.
never liked Frosty.
Okay.
Ever. I mean, I don't feel like I'm being tortured if I watch it. If it's on, fine. I understand it's a classic. It just makes me just sad.
William, you and I are about to become even better friends right now because you're 100% correct. Frosty's not a very good special. It's just dumb. The Grinch is definitely my vote on this one. And it could have even been in the Christmas Carol bracket, if we're being honest. You want to talk about a miser who hates the world,
Okay, yeah.
you know, is redeemed?
It's like space Nazis. Like not real Nazis, but yeah, it has the same essence there. Sure. It's the Grinch.
I said Christmas carols, but we're putting the Grinch and Nazis are bad. Okay. I mean,
No, I mean it's like it's an interpretation of but yeah, miserly character whose heart grows 3 sizes after it.
Yeah. The narration, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I mean, come on. Frosty the Snowman. Da-da-da-da. It sounds like this is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends. And you're just like, I want to
You do not
do something. I want to take my top hat off and lose all my magic, if you know what I mean. Like,
You also do not slander the good name of Lamb Chop and her play alone.
oh,
Anyway, so
all right. But
yeah.
you get
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm going. Like, the Grinch is.
What do
yeah.
you think,
Yeah.
Dallas?
I like Frosty, but I don't like Frosty nearly as much as I love the Grinch.
Yeah.
Now, I like this Grinch. I do not like Jim Carrey's Grinch, even a little bit. I
Yes.
actively rally
Yes.
against that Grinch.
I have gotten a lot of flack in my in-laws' family for saying that. I think it's a terrible adaptation.
I picture Dallas in the Kentucky State Capitol during a protest, just holding a sign saying Benedict Cumberbatch is not the Grinch.
No,
In the
that
middle
one's
of-
that one's okay. Jim Carrey's
eh.
version is the one I don't like because it's almost like it's inappropriate at
sorry.
times for no reason.
Yes. Did you know that there's some dark, just bad references?
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
the part. Like
some
that's the
bad
Jim
references.
Carreyness that goes
Are
over the
you
top sometimes.
Christmas?
And that song, I don't understand how that song fits into the vibe of that whole movie.
It doesn't. It
How
doesn't.
can I find you?
I mean, she could sing the same thing about her dog. Where are you, Fluffy?
You could replace it with "Where Are You
Why
Tuesday?"
can't-
Isn't that
Where
right,
are
Cody?
you
That's what you always say.
Tuesday?
No, I just. All right, but when we're talking about the original
OG,
Dr.
yeah.
Seuss, How
Yeah.
the Grinch Stole Christmas,
Boris Karloff.
both of these are
narrating
also
that, yeah.
very short
Oh, yeah.
cartoons. I think they're both like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not
that
like
that is one of the things.
movies.
Frosty couldn't
Frosty.
be any shorter. Like,
Agreed. Like that's one of the things that I'm like, okay, this is just it's like 25 minutes long or something like that.
There must have been some magic in. Please hurry this story along. We get it. They put a hat on
You
him.
don't
and
like
now
the like
he
30
is a
other ones that they
snowman.
made where like he gets a wife. Andy Griffith is in one of them. Like as just
Cody,
himself.
How could I forget?
He saves the community center from an evil developer. Like,
Frosty's Happy New Year.
I just
Cody,
Where was
what about you?
Frosty on 11/22/63? He was on the grassy knoll. Like, whoa, where were you, Frosty? What's going on? Like,
I love a good redemption story. I love redemption. I love, that turn.
a new hope for somebody's life. You might say.
My favorite part of A Christmas Carol is when he wakes up and realizes he still has a chance. I gotta give it to the Grinch. Gotta give
okay.
it to the Grinch.
Cool.
All right. Well, that Charlie Brown and the Grinch have advanced in the animation conference, and we have one more conference. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back,
So devious.
The generically named Feel Good Conference, because these are the holdovers. The holdovers.
Oh, it came back.
There we go. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with the last conference in our initial round of 32.
It's the last and certainly least. I mean, certainly not least.
This one, we're calling it Feel Good because, I mean, you put it on for the feelings, but this includes Polar Express, The Santa Claus, Christmas Chronicles, and Miracle on 34th Street, specifically the version in the 90s with Matilda and the guy who started Jurassic Park.
And who is also
Christmas
Ben
Band.
Shapiro's cousin. Like,
Well, way to ruin that even more for me. Gosh, this is already a conflicted conference. I'd also like to point out, because we had the Nazis are bad category, I will start the grammar Nazis are category. This should actually say the Santa Claus with an E, and it says the Santa Claus with no E.
Gosh.
And that is a
Yeah.
distinction worth making.
Let's shut it
because
down.
that's the whole point. Yep, the bracket's over basically.
What's
That's
real?
the problem right there.
At least for your sake, I went back and removed the aberrant Z's that appeared all throughout the bracket, because that's apparently
So many shows.
all right.
I'm Morgan Freeman. All of their shows have Z's.
Polar Express
according to
versus
Cody.
Santa Claus.
I actually do have a little nostalgia for this one. The Polar Express came out before I knew about Santa being it was the same time that I learned about Santa not being real, which is embarrassing. And yes, I'm the baby of this group. Everyone knows that already. But yeah, I learned that Santa wasn't real. It was traumatic. Polar Express came out, and my mom gave me a sleigh bell to be like, you carry on the magic now. And that pissed me off. It really did.
Whoa,
I
that
was like,
took a
first
turn.
of
I
all, you lied to me. You lied to me for all these years. And now I just have to be complicit with it. And it took me a very long time to actually appreciate the Polar Express.
Okay.
Yes, there's the Uncanny Valley again. The Santa Claus is manslaughter. And I just don't know how to feel about it. And also, you brought up Ben Shapiro's nephew or somebody. You've found Ben Shapiro's friend with Tim Allen. So, I mean, I don't know where we can really go with that without getting demonetized. Anywho, it's just a lot of conflicting emotions with these two. I'm only going with Polar Express because I feel like I would also get disowned by my own family if I didn't choose it, but I have no real love lost on these two.
I didn't have any connection to the book, The Polar Express, as a kid.
Okay.
I was in middle school, I think. And Mom read The Polar Express. She was elementary school teacher. She read it with her class. She had a very, very deep connection.
Yeah.
So when the movie was coming out, obviously we were going to see this movie.
Right.
I've watched it all the way through twice, maybe. The Santa Claus was on repeat.
Yeah.
In our house.
Actually, I will make one caveat. The Polar Express was phenomenal in 3D. Any other showings after the fact? Whatever. 3D did make a difference here.
I like the story of the Polar Express. I think it ticks off all of the boxes of my perfect Christmas movie. Like everyone can watch it. It's actually set at Christmas time. There's character growth in the main character. And I would argue that there is a miracle at some point in both.
It gives me an excuse to drink hot chocolate.
Jenny has watched it, and I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited that the train in Bardstown has a Polar Express ride at Christmas
That's adorable.
time. And your kids go in their pajamas, and they have this whole production on there. And I don't know that there would be a local production reenacting the murder of Santa Claus.
Come to my roof
so that you can steal his
and you'll see it.
So I
get off the roof, fat man.
Because nostalgia is a drug that I partake in often. I'm going to give it to the Santa Claus.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to have to agree on that one. It's going to the Santa Claus. We saw the Santa Claus 2 in theaters. As one of our December 23rd movies. It was a movie that was very much on repeat. And as we've established before, we are perfectly okay with Christmas manslaughter since we defended the Violet Night so valiantly.
Boo, boo. Shame.
I just love how you thought I was going to fight for it because I put it on the bracket. It was there.
I did.
It's like when you tip just a little too much cayenne in your chocolate because you're trying to be fancy.
Maybe I just don't love either of these because I feel like I am the kid that's like, actually, it was a Baldwin locomotive. Maybe I relate too much to that kid. Maybe that's why I hurt inside when I watch it. Maybe.
Why I can't
Maybe
watch
I should
The
be
Office.
learning something. I don't know.
I relate too much to Michael Scott.
You relate too much. Dallas, what did you think?
Polar Express is fine. Like I grew up watching that one and loved it. But I didn't have ties to the book. I didn't know it was a book for a long time. I just thought it was like, well, this is a cool Christmas movie that came out. And there's trains and bells. But the Santa Claus
bells and whistles, one might say.
Santa Claus, though, we watched all the time, and just like the previous podcast where we discussed murder, I'm fine with it in certain circumstances, and if that is for financial gain and job advancement, that's fine. So that part did it.
I'm Morgan Freeman. Their corporate lawyers want me to point out that Dallas doesn't actually mean that. I think I slipped a little bit into Frank Underwood from House of Cards there, and he was all about murder for power gain. Never mind, I give up. If we get sued, it's all on Dallas. I didn't do it. I'm Morgan Freeman.
No, I enjoyed that movie. We watch it. That's the movie that we put on when we decorate the Christmas tree every year. Because it's one you can put on. We've watched it enough now that like you don't have to pay attention as much, but also you can watch it and pay attention to it. Now, after I think 2, like it sharply falls off, or it goes off the rail, which is the one where like he makes a plastic Santa Claus clone army.
Was that 3? Is that with Jack Frost?
No, that's a different one.
No, like Jack Frost shows up in one.
Jack Frost is in the third.
The third one.
I think the plastic
that one
Santa
was
Claus,
bad.
they needed a decoy while he was out getting his lady. And that was
They
the plastic
did,
Santa Claus.
but it was jarring. I think it didn't necessarily, I don't think, flow well with the rest of what was going on. But it was fine too. But Santa Claus 1 gets my vote.
Well, Santa Claus moves on then. And then
Thanks, Santa.
This last one will probably go pretty quickly because I think we're all in unanimous agreement. But we have the Christmas Chronicles versus Miracle on 34th Street.
The psychotic eyeballs that Dallas is pulling right now. I wish, William, I wish that this had been the original Miracle on 34th Street. I watched this, the 90s version, and I was like, oh man, it's just not as magical, because that would have been over there with White Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life.
You didn't like cable TV's Pierce Brosnan?
No, I did not. I did not enjoy this one as much. But do not fret, William. Christmas Chronicles was the only other movie on this list that gave Violent Night a run. It was the this was the movie that set us off on the group chat where I went, who the added Christmas Chronicles? And Dallas went, oh, occasionally Maley watches that. Yeah, I put that on there.
Sugar-free Haribo gummy bears and X-Lax in order to be able to crap on this movie as much as he did. It
was so bad.
Listen,
It's
you put a movie on here you
so
never
bad.
watched.
Which
Because
one?
you watched clips
one?
on TikTok.
Oh, Love Actually. Yeah. Listen, I was just saying it's like a Christmas movie that everyone's supposed to watch, and I'm like, oh, I haven't watched it. You know, like let's give it a go.
You put Scrooged on there and you hated it, and I felt the need to.
I didn't say I.
Also, who told you that you
hated
have
it,
to watch Love Actually at Christmas time? Nobody in my whole life has ever told me that that's a movie you have to watch.
Listen, Christmas Chronicles made me feel stupider. The elves having a musical number with Kurt Russell made me want to vomit, and I regret nothing I'm saying right now. I will not regret it. I wish Kurt Russell was sitting here right now, because I would tell him to his face, I'm like, Kurt, dude, you did Ego. And they're like, oh man, Guardians 2. Awesome. What happened with Christmas Chronicles? Why?
He did Ego, Stargates, The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, a great 1960s film.
Dude, Kurt Russell is a phenomenal actor. What happened here? Also, why did they try to Blair Witch Project this movie? I don't know, but...
So, William, are you editing this one?
Mm-hmm.
So you put mine before his, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so objectively, Christmas Chronicles is the best movie that has ever been released. And there's no proof otherwise at all. There's just not.
It's the Lawrence of Arabia of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up there with James and the Giant Peach. It could be. I didn't understand. You know, I went in and I thought this is the dumbest movie ever, but it's actually opened my eyes. I think it's supplanted Christopher Nolan as the greatest of all time. And frankly, if I could only take one movie with me on a desert island to watch until I inevitably die of heat stroke, it would be the Christmas. No, of course not.
It wasn't even believable.
I did listen to an interview not too long ago with Kurt Russell and his son. It was a Conan O'Brien podcast. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I really like Conan O'Brien. Nobody knows that until just now. But Conan asked him, like, when people approach him on the street, like, do they usually pick like his old 80s like gruff action movie folks? And he said his favorite is when people call him Santa. Like, that is the character that he likes to be called the most. Which is weird because I don't like it when people say that I'm Santa. That's for other
Honestly, like the prison musical number, jazz musical number that just randomly appeared out of nowhere. I was digging it. I was very much digging it.
No. I was already so close to turning the movie off, and that just sent me over the
And then you're like,
edge.
I'm here
It
for
was
this.
so awful. The CGI was dog water. It made Violent Night look like Stanley Kubrick. It was.
Don't make up names. Don't do that.
Please
I
make up
really
names
wanted-
and pretend we go to the moon too.
I really
Yeah.
wanted a championship to be Violent Night versus Christmas Chronicles. I
just because you can anger me doesn't mean that you should. This movie was
You
so
wanna know what my
bad.
vote is?
Please, if you're listening to this podcast, don't
My
watch
vote
it.
is Christmas Chronicles. I don't.
Wow, is it actually?
Have no love for Miracle on 34th.
Have you seen the original?
I have,
though?
and it's good, but like I think time has passed too far for that to like have a place in. And Christmas Chronicles is something that I have watched with Maylee, so like watching her light up watching this, I think is where my draw. But also, I like to watch the world burn. So
This group is rubbing off on you, Dallas, and I am not even mad about it because I had a great interaction. I'm a good dad. I can't be mad at that. Screw you. I should be mad, but I'm not. That's a great dad moment.
I think, well, kind of like I think if I watched the Santa Claus now without ever watching it before, it wouldn't have the same feeling for me. And so this is Maylee's Christmas. So like this is one that she picks every time. She's like, we have to watch this. So
just because you don't necessarily find value in the movie doesn't mean that it's not valuable, because the it's worth of like the only way I could get
one's man's trash is one Maylee's treasure.
the only way that I can get through Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is to just meticulously pick it apart of how ridiculous that show is. But I'm not gonna lie, like there were moments where
dog.
yeah, let's not get into me watching a cow eat a hot dog. I'm sorry.
What?
It just disturbed me to my Clarabelle cow eating a hot dog at their cookout.
Oh, that one. Okay. So I must have zoned out for a second.
Fun fact, you can hear this rant twice if you also go listen to The Big Red Button, which is our sister show. William is also talking about.
My brain missed the first part. I
yeah.
just heard cow eating a hot dog. So I was picturing just a real cow eating a hot dog. I was like, when did this happen? Okay, this makes more sense.
I don't think that's kosher anymore. That's definitely
Alex
wrong.
is Miracle on 34th Street in this bracket.
Si, senor.
Dallas, you are Christmas Chronicles. Cody?
I watched Miracle on 34th Street for the first time 5 hours ago.
You didn't? Oh, okay.
I remember owning the VHS, but never. If I watched it, it was 1998. It was 1998.
Okay.
It's been a long time. So I have zero memory of it. I had except that cover of that movie. Like that's the only that is the memory I have of it. I'm going to have to say though, I did enjoy Miracle on 34th Street. I mean, Richard Attenborough is a great Santa Claus. He is great at the role. I mean, it would not surprise me if he actually snapped and like legitimately believed himself to be Santa Claus.
Oh, I thought,
and
that's not where I thought that was going. Like, it wouldn't be surprised me if he was indeed Santa Claus. No, if he had if he had his own little minty bee and thought that he was actually Santa Claus. Yeah.
And
I just always confuse him with his brother. And it's like, here we find a wild Santa Claus. And you're like, wait, oh, that's David, not Richard. My bad.
I've never seen the original. I've never seen the original Miracle on 34th Street.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Neither of you have seen the original.
This is my Miracle on 34th Street. So if you are correct, then my experience should only get better whenever I watch the original.
And so I enjoyed it.
Hope so.
I had a great time with it.
I would hope
thought
so.
The little girl was cute. Richard Attenborough was great. But I'm going to give it to Christmas Chronicles. Kurt Russell was great in the Kurt Russell was great in the role. It was adorable. It had very good heartwarming moments when
I want to die.
It is objectively the best Christmas movie of all time.
Much like the Nintendo Switch, it is the greatest video game console. It is objectively the best video game console of all time.
I watched him.
Keep your composure, Alex. Don't say hurtful things again. It only ruins your friendships. Don't say hurtful things. It's not worth it, and it's not funny. You can do this. Be strong. You son of... No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna... I get it.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
He's like, you know what? Alex is getting revenge. I'm getting revenge on Alex.
William
now
has
for
all the power
the
right now.
No, it's okay.
I
accept.
It's I haven't watched the original Miracle on 34th Street. I did revisit this one. Kristen is in here, and she went. I did revisit this one, and I think I was kind of riding the high of Matilda. I loved that movie, and I'm like, oh, it's the same girl. Is she gonna make something levitate with her mind? Is she gonna prove that she's a wizard? But no, she's just kind of a cute little girl. We watched Kristen and I watched the Christmas Chronicles together, and she said when we finished it, she's like, that was the front of it felt very Hallmark movie, but Kurt Russell as Santa Claus.
It had Brad Paisley's wife. Of course it did.
Oh, of course it was a Hallmark movie, but Kurt Russell was just, he was having the time of his life playing Santa Claus. You could tell he legitimately enjoyed playing that role, and you could tell after the fact he confirmed in interviews that he loves it when people call him Santa. I'm going to give it to Christmas Chronicles.
Thank you,
It's
Santa.
kind of like how you find out that Daniel Craig hated his entire tenure as James Bond. Hated it. Would rather have never made another movie ever again. And yet, he has signed on for like 4 more Knives Out movies because he is just having the time of his life playing Benoit Blanc.
And it shows.
And I just go, it's like, son of a gun. Like, come on. You were sleepwalking through that. Like, Kurt Russell, I hate you for having fun playing Santa Claus because that movie was
Now,
dog
to be
water.
fair, I
can't
have
even-
also been Santa Claus, and it is really cool to watch everybody light up when
Yeah,
you're
you
around.
do it every Christmas. I'm aware. I was given the bell at Polar Express. I'm not an idiot anymore, Mom.
It is weird how many people touch you though whenever you are dressed up as Santa Claus because they feel like that
Touched
you
by an
can.
angel.
So yeah,
I remember that from The Preacher's Wife because then the angels come down. No?
we do also spray Pam on our roof every year just to make them slide off faster. Got him.
So did we get through our round of 32?
Yes.
We did.
In 2 episodes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have part 3 as we to lead up to the championship game. But let's cut to a break. We'll come back and we will answer a listener submitted table topic, and then we'll head out of here because that was a marathon that you end it thinking. You don't end it thinking I'm dying inside. You end it thinking let's go have ice cream. So we will have our just desserts whenever we come back from the break, and then we'll head out of here. So we'll be back in just a second. All right, we're back. We're going to answer a listener submitted table topic, and then we'll head out of here because this has been a long evening, and Tom is very anxiously drumming his fingers on the bar to shut the door.
He's
after
been
us.
wiping that same glass
over
for like
and
3
over
hours,
and
poor
over.
guy.
Okay. Our friend of the podcast, listener Mark Hayward, has asked advice that you wish you would have gotten at 20 years old.
Get a business minor.
Ooh.
Get a business minor. I was a government major, and I loved my time at Morehead State University in those classes. I loved everything that I learned, and it was wonderful. Prepared me for law school. It was right up my alley. And then I was a history minor. The history minor was utterly useless. Those classes, I had fun in those classes. I had fun in those classes, but I learned more history on the major side than I actually did on the minor side. And I wish I had a little bit more practicality skills during my college experience. And so I would have said get a business minor because for one, half one of the major works I do as a lawyer is form LLCs. So I wish I had that as far as long-term stuff is concerned. With my history itch, the things I love about history was well served in that side of things. And I was well served on that side of things. So, and it all comes down to one day in a class. I took women's history and learned a lot. Had some fun in there. But there was one day where we watched 3 different variants of the music video of Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines, and I wanted to gouge my eyes out after the music video. That really is what it came down to.
There's not really a good version of that video, is there?
No. So I would say
that's not one you can watch with the whole family.
It's not making it up on the top of my
There
Christmas
are no
movie
miracles in that one either.
list.
And it doesn't happen at Christmas, and there's no personal growth to the main character. I don't think that made it a better thing, but
I have a minor in history, and the best history teacher I ever had was my 8th grade history teacher, Paul Simpson. Rest in peace, good sir. You were a Santa Claus in real life. You were a Santa Claus. Rest in peace, good sir. So
get a minor in business. Gotcha.
Yes.
What about you, Dallas?
I think I would tell young me not to work so much in college because that wore me out, and I think I missed a whole lot of it.
You would have been around more.
Right. I slept through so many movies in college because that was my excuse to take naps because I was working 2 and 3 jobs and taking 18 hours of class. And so I just missed huge chunks. Now, I came out with like $700 of debt, but I also, I think, missed pivotal, formative moments with people that I'm still very close to, would have had more so much. Also, I would have had less feces thrown at me because of the jobs. Win-win.
William, what you got?
If I could go back and tell my 20-year-old self something, I don't know. I go back and forth between trying to convey just how hard med school was, and then the other half of me says, no, you were able to get through it because didn't know how hard it would be, and so you just had to take it as it came. You had no pretext of I went through 6 months of chemo, and med school was worse, hands down. I mean,
wow.
I was in a worse headspace in med school. I think honestly, I was in worse health in med school. Chemo. I know people have had worse rounds with chemo, but at 14, they kept saying oh, he's not going to want to eat anything, he's going to be sick all the time. If he wants to eat anything that sounds appetizing, you just got to get calories in him. I was never sick ever. I would say, hey mom, Snickers sounds good. She would practically run off the road to go buy me a Snickers. I gained 26 pounds on chemo. I had an itchy scalp, and it was inconvenient. That was basically
I can attest you did get sick once because you left me alone with Jake.
But I had this is kind of beside the point. I ran a fever. I never felt bad. I was just mad because my cousin came to visit and I had to go to the hospital. But I don't know. Maybe trying to prepare myself better for med school, maybe I would have been able to mentally prepare. I don't know. But my trajectory, I don't have any regrets on decisions that I've made. Because when I decided to go to med school, every other decision was kind of made for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not flail in a job for 2 decades before I made a change when things were not working. The average before a young physician picks a new job is 2 years. I was 1 year and 10 months. So I kind of beat the average before I made the jump. And I'm in I don't know, things are really good now. So that's the thing that sticks out to me is I remember having a full-blown panic attack mental breakdown in the doorframe going into my kitchen in med school. Never had anything close to that before. So maybe just a gird your loins. This is going to be rough.
Permission to be just a little bit more serious. on this.
Okay.
If I could go back time, I would show you a picture of Genevieve because I remember how hard that was
No,
for you.
I saw one.
Hmm,
I did.
okay.
Like I had a dream when I was a junior in college that it felt like I was living a moment of my life in the future. Like it felt real. I was walking down the top floor of my house and there were 3 doors over to the side and I knew it was my house. And I glanced in the first door and I see a girl, chocolate brown hair down to about her mid back, maybe 10 years old, get up and walk to her dresser. And I walked past the second door and it was shut. And I walked past the third door and I don't look in. I still remember this. I was living with Dallas at the time. And I walk into the room at the end. I sit down in a chair. And this little boy with green eyes and glasses comes up to me and looks up at me. And then I turn and look and Kristen's is leaning in the doorframe watching us. And I woke up in a cold sweat of joy, if that makes sense. Because it just hit me. I'm like, I just saw my kids. And that had stuck with me ever since I was a junior in college. And the first time I held Jenny and she kind of snuggled down into my arms and that hat fell off and she had a full head of chocolate brown hair. I'm like, there it is. So I yes, it was a long process for me to be a dad, but I felt like I'd already seen myself over the finish line there. So I knew I finished the race. Anyway,
Okay.
I didn't mean to crack my diary open and read so much of it back there to you, but yeah.
Alex.
Well, is it bad that my first thought was, all right, Alex, invest in Bitcoin? But that's not really right. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on this. I'm of 2 minds. I was getting a lot of good coaching and mentorship and parenting, and a lot of it was around maturity and maturing. And so I think something in me kind of was like, hey, I need to be mature. I need to be the smartest guy in the room. I need to be the most interesting person in the room, but I need to be mature. And I kind of took that the wrong way. I was an ass. And everyone knows that. And if you know me, it's been almost 30 years of trying to not be that way. And so I don't know how I could mix 2 pieces of advice at the same time, where it's like, yeah, you need to be more mature, but enjoy life as it's going by. Not like, I stop and smell the roses every once in a while, because I think I was I was constantly living for the next thing. I mean, Cody can attest to this. When we were at Liberty, it was, no, I need to go fly. I need to go pursue my career. And I didn't enjoy college. I did not enjoy one lick of college. I went to maybe 2 football games, never went to a basketball game, never went to a baseball game, didn't go to any parties. I think I went to 1 party. I didn't enjoy college. And I'm not sitting here saying, well, you should have gone and sown your wild oats. Don't hear me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But I was so focused on what's next. And so, yes, there's that part of you need to be mature, which is still true to me every single day. But I wish I had stopped and just enjoyed life. And I didn't. And I wish I had. So I don't know. It's kind of a how do you tell somebody to do that at the same time?
One of the very first moments where I realized that Dad and I had we completely disagreed on something. And I'm like, I wasn't going to argue with him about something, but I still felt in my bones that I was right. He said, you're in college, you're there to get a degree. That is the only reason why you're there. And he's like, I had 2 years at Morehead State, I had 2 years at UK. I was just get in there, put your head down, get your degree, and get out.
Mm-hmm.
I met one of my longest, dearest friends in college, and I felt like
Dallas, did you meet this person? He sounds cool.
And I felt like that connection was only made because I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not in any sort of debauchery. I'm not getting like wasted. I'm not sowing my wild oats. We're just goofing off and having fun.
Yeah.
And that was one thing where I'm like, no, you know what? I college is one of those I met my wife in college.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm not sitting here wishing I had like completely revisionist history. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm very happy with where I wound up. I mean, if I had gone back and tweaked certain things, it could still wind up where I am now, in the sense of like, okay, I got the same end result, but a few other things are different.
Right,
Like
yeah.
the diploma looks different, the experience. Like, yeah, I would absolutely do that. But like, it worked out. It did. But if I could go back and tell 20-year-old Alex to like enjoy life, stop thinking about like life is going to be here before you know it. You know, worry about tomorrow. Like I'm not sitting here like, oh, just spend your money away. See, that's where I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, how
No,
do you
you're
give
just,
two
like,
pieces of
just
advice at the
enjoy
same
them.
time?
Not like go buck
Yeah.
wild and
Sure. And I didn't. And I wish I had. But at the same time, grow the heck up, Alex. Like, grow up.
There's a line.
We're getting there. We're getting
There's
there.
a line from C.S. Lewis where he says, "When I was a child, I wanted to be grown up, but when I became a man, I learned that grown up means, that I can enjoy childish things." And it's kind of a maxim I live by. That's kind of a maxim I live by. It's like, enjoy the things you like, live life.
But then at the same time, Alex needs to be mature and not enjoy Maxim. That's a very different thing.
There is
Be mature, Alex.
There's a difference between being mature and then saying, you know what, I have it, and you know what, it's like, I don't need to take everything so seriously all the time, and there's still value in the things that you enjoyed as a kid. That you enjoyed as a kid.
Hey, that's why Polar Express and Charlie Brown. Oh, wait, all of my movies are sad. The Holdovers, Jim Carrey, Scrooge.
Well, on that note, Mark, I don't know if that's what you expected, but I hope that it exceeded your expectation. And
all that
and more. Well, guys, I will pick up the tab tonight, and if you have found yourself one booth down in our little pub, then congratulations on making it this far. I will drinks are on me tonight. But just a couple of notes before we head out of here. The first 3 episodes of The Big Red Button are currently live in the feed. We would love for you to go on this journey through the apocalyptic wasteland of the Fallout universe with us. You can find it wherever you find any of your podcasts. Links to all of that will be down in the description below. And A Doctor and a Lawyer Walk Into a Bar is a production of the Grapefruit Network. If you want to find out more about this show, visit drandlawyer.show, and to find out more about the other shows in our network, including the upcoming All Harry Potter podcast, Potter Plus, debuting in April, visit thegrapefruitnetwork.com. Links to all of our socials will be down in the description below. But with the launch of our network, we have some new perks. We're kind of retooling everything over on Patreon. So if you want to toss a coin to your Witcher as well, links to the Patreon will be down in there. We'd love to have you join us. But with that, guys, I'm going to head out of here. This was exhausting and exhilarating all at the same time. I am William.
I am Dallas.
I'm Cody.
I'm Morgan Freeman, trapped in a cage of Alex's mind, not to be confused with a literal cage, but a metaphorical one, inside the childish, unmature brain of Alex Christian.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Are you kidding? I'm working.
All right, I'll be right there.
And grab the movie. Go, 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 go.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
Made one, snapped in two, which was
The definition of a great baby is the same definition as a crappy husband. I don't know why I have that saved.
Is this your dream,
but I
journal?
do.
I woke up and I wrote this down. I don't know what it means.